From 2017 to 2018, Sunrise created 3 films: Initiation, Transgression, and The Glorification. These films would be the first in a series of anime created for the alternative universe, now joined by the recent film Lelouch of the Resurrection and soon to be released Z of the Recapture. Collectively, these films summarize the original anime while also adding, removing, and changing the original story. Spend enough time online and it won't take you long to read questions from fans about these films. These include: what's the difference between the films and the original anime? Are they good? Why were they made? And the most popular, should I watch them? We're going to answer all of these questions minus the difference between the original anime and the films. That topic alone is very complex and needs its own video. And if you're interested in such a video, let me know in the comments below. Before starting, be aware, there will be spoilers from both the original series and the films. With that in mind, here is my review of the new recap films Initiation, Transgression, and The Glorification. Let's start by answering why these films were made. You're probably thinking, wait, you already said that. It was to create this alternative universe. And beyond that, there's the obvious, which is to make money. Not to mention, they want to make Geass relevant again. But I think there's another reason that goes beyond this. Now, it's only a theory, but these films were also created to fix the past mistakes of the original series. Why else are there new scenes that seem to only exist just to do exactly that? And R1 and R2 had plenty of areas that needed fixing, especially with R2. I stated in my R2 review that the series was rushed, and I think these movies were trying to fix that. The creators must have thought the same way. Here are some numbers to illustrate this. The films changed over 55 things for R1 and 61 things for R2. But with R1, only 34 new scenes were added, while 57 were added to R2. And the majority of changes to R1 were just to create the alternate universe, where R2 were fixing major plot issues, or in some cases ignoring them altogether. But then something dawned on me. If these issues can be fixed, should they be? And if so, how? For all the faults of R2, I do give it credit for what they accomplished in such a short period of time. And because the story was rushed, the only real way to fix it would be to recreate the story. These films are proof in and of itself that was never going to happen. Regardless of the purpose behind these new scenes, the scenes in and of themselves were not terrible. I just don't think they were the best way to handle fixing the issues that were in the original series. I sound negative here, so in fairness, there are changes introduced that do fix some key issues. For example, Lelouch privately meets with Kirihara, which removes the plot holes of the guards seeing his face. They also explain that C2 saved Lelouch's memories and give more insights to why Jeremiah joined Lelouch. Although it was convenient that they put all of this into one scene, even though the conversation itself felt out of place. Now, when it came to the Ragnarok connection and other areas like that, these films don't add much to explain them. Another reason why the new scenes were disappointing is that they created more problems instead of fixing them. Here are some examples. C2 did not tell Lelouch about Charles Geass because he never asked. Why would Lelouch think to ask? C2 is aware that Charles is his enemy and wants him to succeed, so why wouldn't she just tell him? They never told Suzaku why they overrode the memories of the students. Instead, Bismarck lies to him. Seems like a cop-out to me. Not only while Viceroy couldn't see Lelouch because he had amnesia, she fell for it and did nothing else to try to see him anyways. So we have gotten through why the films were made, and even though the changes are a mixed bag, are the films still enjoyable to watch? That's a hard question to answer because I was coming from a place where I had watched the original series before watching these films, and I assume most fans are in the same boat. During my recent watch, I tried to imagine that this was the first time experiencing Geass, and from that point of view, the films do tell a cohesive story. And when I thought about it, the films actually did some things better than the original anime. For example, the films start out with Lelouch being exiled to Japan. In the original anime, this was shown as a flashback. I know this could never have worked in the original anime, but I liked seeing the entire conflict between Lelouch and Suzaku that is shown in stage 25 and turn 2 in one whole scene. For the minority of people out there, if you've never seen Geass, I doubt you'll notice anything wrong in these films. but since I had prior knowledge, I noticed that the condensing of the original series led to pacing issues, and I was not pleased on some of the parts that were removed. This is why the films in a vacuum are enjoyable, but when compared to the original series, not so much. I thought it was clever to have Suzaku in the EU instead of being in school during the events of R2. This was a convenient way to not show certain events that were skipped from the original series. The films applied this logic to many other scenes that they removed by having one new scene which summarized several episodes in a couple of minutes. Again, only people who watched the original series will even notice these things. Now let's talk about each film individually. I'm not going to do a deep dive into the plot as I've already covered R1 and R2 already. So instead, here's a general discussion on the plot alterations. Before that though, I just want to mention that each film ends with a new closing scene. The initiation covers everything from stage 1 to stage 17, transgression from stage 18 to turn 16, and the glorification from turn 17 to turn 25. I enjoyed the glorification the most and the transgression the least. What's disappointing is that the transgression started out great and had the most of the newest scenes, and it has the best part in any of the films, which is when they connect the events of R1 and R2. I wish they did that in R2. They even did a great job with connecting to Akito the Exiled. But after that, the film suffers from pacing issues, condensing some of the most important parts and slapping together new scenes to summarize all of it. I'm especially pissed that we didn't get any new scenes with the Knights of the Round other than the part where Suzaku meets up with them for the first time. Dorothea was hurt the most. We don't even see her face in the new scene. Keep in mind that if R2 suffered from a rushed plot, then you can imagine how condensing further hurt this film. This is something that the initiation did not suffer from, since R1 overall was a better told story, and most of the condensing removed extra stuff, where transgression removed both extra and important parts. I liked the glorification the most because it kept the most important scenes and it's a perfect bridge for Lelouch of the Resurrection. I have not said much about the initiation because it was okay, nothing special. They spent over 30 minutes just showing the first 3 episodes, which might have been a little too much. I do like several of the new scenes, including showing Lelouch's exile and him carrying Nunnally up the stairs to the Kodarugi Shrine. Until that point, we only saw it in a picture drama, and I liked how they showed parts of the episodes that were skipped from R1 in a nice montage. The lead up to that was nice as well, as we had the Japanese people singing. Plus, we get that new scene of Lelouch and C2 together. On a general level, they did a good job with redubbing parts of the original series for the films and still having it make sense despite the plot changes. And the new scenes are beautifully animated, along with the nice touch-ups they did on the original scenes. They even connected both Oz and Akito the Exiled into the story. This is why I wish they had just remade R2 with these new pieces of content in mind, rather than the band-aid job they did with these films. With this in mind, are these films actually good? No, more like average. Did I enjoy watching them? Yes. So what does that mean for you guys? Should you watch the films? I go back and forth on this one and have settled with no. You can read up the differences online, including my own article, which I will leave in the description below. I do think the new scenes alone are worth a watch, simply because they are beautiful and do fill in some plot holes. Not always with the best explanations. The films do a great job in trimming the fat and removing the non-essential parts of the series, and in some cases improving upon the original anime. But if you just want to watch Lelouch of the Resurrection, read the main differences and watch it after R2. In the end, these films try to summarize the original series, create an alternative universe, while trying to fix issues along the way. Unfortunately, they only really succeed at creating the alternative universe. Until Z of the Recapture comes out, there is no way to know how much information in these films will be important. But knowing Code Geass, I doubt it. More than likely, Z of the Recapture will be a self-contained story, like Akito, with small winks and nods to the other Code Geass content. So in the grand scheme, these films will likely only be remembered as those recap films that were created just to get us to Lelouch of the Resurrection. And with that, we have come to the end. If you want more Code Geass content, please check out my blog. I post new articles on a weekly basis. I'm also working on my new update for my anime streaming guide, which will be out in this month. Joining my email list also gives you access to what I'm working on and it's a good way to communicate with me, just like my social media accounts, which are in the description below. But now I want to hear from you. Did you guys like the new recap films or not? If you could create new scenes in Code Geass to address unanswered questions, which parts and where do your scenes go? Let me know in the comments. And also let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video that will go through all the differences between the original anime and the film series. Remember, the world is not a dark place and tomorrow will be a good day. Thanks for watching.